good evening, and thanks for joining us here on Speed Racing Network. As always, Brandon, messing up here early on with the graphics revealing just like that. I go through and check everything, and then it's all messed up when I actually start the show. But thanks for joining us. Night number 2 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm Greg Olenek, joined by Brandon Domain, as always, here with the Truck Series. Had a great first round at Texas. Now here at Charlotte, it's going to be a good race here tonight. Looking like we have 33 trucks in the field for this 95-lap race.
Yeah, still a pretty full field out there, and after a week where we saw, you got the top 10 in the point standings, 8 of them were inside the top 12 at the end of that race last week, so a lot of momentum for these guys above that cut line. Going to be a challenge for some of the ones below that cut line to try to make up that gap, but it can be done here with 2 weeks remaining in this opening round.
Yeah, so like you said, 2 weeks remaining with Michigan being that final track, so let's go ahead, check out those standings as they are after that first round race at Texas. There you see Ryan Johnson with a just ridiculous gap over the cut line. 90 points essentially by starting here tonight. I believe he can actually clinch his spot in the round of 10. So there you got Brad Herman, 36 points up on the cut. Michael Madden there in third. Landon Cardullo fourth. But Lane Doyle there solidly in fifth. But then you see Jonathan Byer, Bobby Anderson, all those guys from about 21 points up on back. There you see Jensic in ninth. Those guys are going to have to be a little bit on their toes here tonight and maybe try and build a little bigger gap because they do not want to be any closer to that cut line when we get to Michigan.
Yeah, and I think the big term right now might be, it's kind of an awkward term, but a throwaway race. And I think once you get beyond Landon Cardullo, everybody else has kind of lost that right to have a throwaway race. If you're above that cut line, you can't have a bad result and still feel a little bit comfortable because you might very well be below that cut line at the end of the night if you have a bad race here tonight. So everybody from fifth on down, they've got to be showing up in a big way if they want to hold on to that spot in white or if they want to move out of one of those spots in red.
Yeah, and a funny stat that you came up with that I love seeing here, you said Andrew Harris has been alternating top 10 finishes with non-top 10 finishes for the last 5 races, and last week was a 15th, so he's looking fast here tonight. Might see that 87 up towards the front, maybe try to build on that gap. Only 4 points up on Nick Halda and Langerfeld, Halda of which is not going to be in the field tonight.
No, he's on a little bit of a family vacation. Cannot knock that one bit. Hopefully
that time
enjoying him. Yeah, bad time, unfortunate time of year since we got the bye week next week, actually. But, can't blame him one bit. Hopefully he's enjoying that vacation with the family out there. And, who knows, still got a shot with the way that these fields have been filled out.
Yeah, so we'll see if any of these guys in red can make up some ground. And that's not the only championship being had. There's a championship for those guys that did not qualify in the playoffs, and Jacob Zala is leading that standings with 35 points to his name. Nathan Nixon closely behind there, 3 points behind. Lucas Lyons there in third. Troy Tickmeyer in fourth, with Sean Kozier there in fifth. All those drivers within 10 points, but a big field in this race for $50 going to the champion of the Tier 2 championship here.
Yeah, and that Tier 2 championship, just a nice little consolation tournament, and we're going to add the drivers that get eliminated in this opening round as well, so this is going to shake up a bit, but Jacob Zala has had a lot of speed. He's been a little hot-cold on finishing results here this season. Similar for Lucas Lyons. Nathan Nixon is just reliable. He'll always be around that top 10, it seems. Same for Troy Teckmeyer. So there's a lot of good names here in this field, so it should be pretty interesting.
All right, well, let's go ahead and check out that team championship as well here. There you see the 4 matchups, all 8 teams competing in this team championship in round number 1. JW Racing going up against Tank Racing in the 1 versus 8 matchup. Tank Racing going up against Bobby Anderson for the 2-7, with Rat Pack there going up against JBR for the 4-5 matchup, and Zuyos Racing going up against Striker Motorsports in that 3-6 matchup. A lot of really good matchups so far, and I'm pleasantly surprised with this one to this point, Brandon. Only a 39-point advantage for JW Racing over Tank Racing after that first race, and they were pretty much carried by Ryan Johnson. He pretty much had more points to his own name than Gagliano and Halda, so he pretty much helped the team out big time last week with that gap, but Mueller and Lipicki kind of sound like I'm in Ferris Bueller there. All solid finishes last week, coming up with 56 points for Tank Racing. So they're still well within this thing, but you see there, JW averaging 106 points per race, a little bit underachieving last week.
Yeah, and they all seemingly got caught up in something aside from Ryan Johnson, who had a max point day. So that was a little bit of a down week for sure for JW Racing, but still putting up 95 points. Tank Racing, you got the Mueller brothers and Walt Lipicki sitting there all next to each other, 22nd through 24th. So it was not a poor showing, but just didn't get the ability to take advantage of that down week from JW Racing as much as they would have wanted.
Yeah, so going ahead and checking out that 2-7 matchup now. The other Tank team, the 2-seed Dark Tank Racing, going against Bar, 97-62, an advantage to Dark Tank Racing. Ben Park, a solid race last week, coming with a 6th place finish. AJ Pritchett in the top 10 too, and Lingerfeld, great run in 12th. So all three of those drivers with solid days, overachieving. If you look at their average points per race there, and then Bar a little bit under their average there, but only with Bobby Anderson, Lucas Lyons still very much in this thing with 2 drivers.
Yeah, I think all 5 scoring drivers really put together a strong showing last week. The only thing that really made this one a 35-point gap, the second largest gap here in this opening round, is that Bobby Anderson Racing only had 2 drivers, so they had to take a 0 out there. If they didn't have that, this would be a much, much closer contest.
Checking out that 3-6 matchup of Zuyost up against Striker Motorsports. This is a good one. 80-64 with Zuyost in the lead right here. Brad Herman with a great week last week, coming home with that runner-up position with 40 points to his name. Techmeyer with good run in 14th, but Blair Holloman really not the week he wanted, coming home in 30th. Could have helped out Zuyost Racing there, but Andrew Harris, Raul Mesa having good runs last week, helping out Jose, who was also further on back in the pack. Good little matchup right here. We'll see if Stryker can maybe make up some ground this week.
Yeah, and this matchup really got affected by those server issues that iRacing had last week with both Jose Castellanos and Blair Holloman getting caught up in that while running inside the top 10. So I think that really affected this race. But either way, second closest race we have thus far. We're seeing a lot of chalk in this bracket, but it doesn't mean that the underdogs in these series are out of it by any means.
Oh, absolutely. And another matchup that we're not going to take our eyes off by any means. That 4-5 living up to the hype, as always, when you have those 2 seeds that are simultaneous to one another. Rat Pack up against JBR here. 111-104. Jensic, Madden, Nixon all getting top 10 finishes last week. And pretty much almost the same thing on JBR, except Bayer coming home in 11th. This is a fantastic matchup. Both teams significantly overachieving when you see their average points per race, but man, it is going to come down to the end, I feel like, with these 2 teams.
Super competitive teams, super level teams, obviously, as you look at those results. And you touched on the big thing that caught my eye. You look at those averages, they're over or about 30 points over those averages. They know it's time to step up. They've got a lot of playoff drivers as well, so a whole lot of motivation for these teams.
Yeah, so we'll see if this gets even tighter after this week. And also should mention these are 2 teams that have been around this league for a long time. So a lot to race for between these 2, and it's going to be a good one once we finish things off in Michigan. So quickly going to check out our sponsors, as we always do here on Speed Racing Network. Silverback Tax Solutions going to be in charge of the green flag here tonight. As always, have any issues with the IRS, go ahead and check them out at silverbacktax.com. Sparkle and Shine Mobile Detailing, name speaks for itself. If you want to get that car cleaned up, looking good, go ahead and check them out on Facebook. Sean Kozier over there will get you looking good this summer in that hot rod. Butt Kicker coming on board to sponsor the Hard Charger Award as always, and TJ's Team Foundation at morethanAcape.org. I can't thank all these sponsors enough for coming on board this season. Let's go ahead and check out that Butt Kicker Hard Charger Award standings. Why don't you go ahead and take a look at what they're going to race for here, Brandon. The Butt Kicker Gamer 2, always a nice piece of equipment to have in your arsenal.
Very nice one. Be a little bit of you'll definitely feel the butt kicker if you have it set up for a track like Charlotte. Little rough out there at times, a little bumpy, but it's been pretty smooth sailing through the field for a lot of these truckers here this season. 5 of them over +8 working their way through the field.
So yeah, there you see it. Rabio still with about three positions gain per average there, advantage over Daniel Park. But Connor Cunningham also well in this race, and Jason Cracky too. This top five, a good battle for this butt kicker gamer too. And a lot of these guys not in the playoffs. I have to imagine we might start seeing them line up all in the back and see who can gain the most positions by this time next week. We got about 5 weeks before this thing is all sorted out. So about 10 seconds before qualifying wraps up. Can't go on without mentioning TJ's team over at morethan-a-cape.org as well, a foundation that really helps out families big time. Word of mouth probably goes the furthest here, Brandon, and just sharing what these guys do, and you can learn a lot on their website.
Certainly can, as well we say, be a friend, tell a friend. If you're able to donate, please do that as well if you are in any position to do so and you feel that call to do so. But this foundation just helps out so many families that are handling one of the toughest situations with childhood illnesses, and just helping every little bit go to those families to help pay for things that are everyday needs. So if you're able, please go to morethan-a-cape.org.
Absolutely. So heading out there on the track, we're here in Concord, North Carolina. And boy, for these drivers' sakes, I'm very happy that this is actually a simulation because, Brandon, it was freaking hot here today. I got up to 101 degrees. First time it's done that here in 10 years. So good thing that these boys are probably in their basements here tonight.
Yeah, definitely felt it not too far away, about a couple hours south down in Atlanta. We were about at that same temperature. So good news under the lights, good news virtual, and really good news for Andrew Harris. He's going to be starting on the pole.
Yeah, he's been doing this a lot lately, just really putting down quick times out here and gets it by 3/100ths of a second over Ryan Johnson, who's just been lights out here this season. Lane Doyle there in third with Trevor Williams in fourth. So JW, they must have heard us in the going over the teams there in the team championship standings, and they are looking to really clean up here tonight. Nathan Dixon and Jonathan Byer there in row 3.
In row number 4, it's going to be Michael Madden on the inside, Bobby Anderson on the outside. Row 5 will be the Lucky Dog winner on the inside, Sean Jensick. He's got a second life here in this season. He'll be starting in 9th. Troy Techmeyer, 4th place in the Tier 2 standings, will be starting in 10th. Row number 6, defending champion Brad Herman on the inside. Blair Holloman, one of those drivers below the cut line, entering tonight in 12th.
So a good-looking top 12, and it's a pretty green top 12. Only a few drivers listed in red there. Those drivers obviously not in the playoff format here. So there you see Andrew Harris coming out on the track. Brandon, we got a lap to pick. Who you got here tonight?
You know what? The name that keeps grabbing my attention, even though I think he had an issue in qualifying, starting all the way back in 24th position, Landon Cardulo has been white hot lately. 5 top 6 finishes in the last 6 races. He's led in all 5 of those top 6 finishes. I think he had an issue in qualifying, maybe slid that car coming out of turn 4. That's pretty common around here. Going to be starting near the back, but I think that 13 works its way up.
All right, I'm going to go ahead a little further up in this field and take this guy in the 15, Michael Madden here tonight. I think he gets a win here in Charlotte. Really good on the mile and a half. Has a few cars to pass, starting in 7th position tonight. But I think Michael Madden has what it takes to get it done here this evening.
That was another one I was definitely looking at. Got everybody gridded up, even though I think we had one spin getting off of the lineup there. Had a little bit of issue catching the grass, but everybody's set and we are ready to go here in Charlotte.
So we're going to see that pace car go down pit road as the pace car lights are off in the field in the hands of Andrew Harris, still racing the paint scheme in honor of his mom. He sees that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag waving, and it's time to get it underway here in Charlotte.
Green flag and a whole lot of neon green on those trucks out in front. Most of the top 12, in fact 10 of the top 12 drivers all playoff drivers right now. It's indicated by those neon green spoilers, neon green banners on top of the windshield.
Wow.
And it's side by side across the line to take that first lap, give that lead to Lane Doyle.
Yeah, power move by JW Racing right there. You saw Nathan Nixon get into the wall a little bit there in fourth, but he keeps it in the right direction and looking like he kept the fenders pretty smooth on that 98 Ford F-150. But Lane Doyle quickly out to the front. Not even sure Andrew Harris had an opportunity to lead that lap. I think they were already taking him on there, and boy, it would almost look like they probably practiced that move here because it made that look flawless out there.
It was a really well done move out there. Doyle did lead that first lap, so he picked up the bonus point. That's going to be all important in these playoffs with how tight everything looks. Doyle entered this race in fifth, but still, you got to be mindful of those things. Sean Jensick, we talked about him having that second life here in the playoffs after winning the Lucky Dog. He's found himself up 3 already, up into the 6th position, trying to get that momentum from last week's third place finish to be getting that 29 pointed back in the right direction.
And Trevor Williams losing 3 positions already this early on in the race. It looked like Brad Herman's going to take a look maybe to the inside too. He's not going to want to waste time. He's up 3 positions as well, just like Jensick. Bo Tiffany picking up big time as well as up 3. Jose Castellanos up 4, up to 11. So some big movers already with lap number 4 about to be completed to start lap 5. So good racing out here so far. Troy Techmeyer to the outside of the 45. Dean Gagliano there. Dean going to try and defend, but looking like 32 might have that preferred lane, be able to carry the speed down this backstretch.
Yeah, and it's really interesting with Charlotte, and after coming from Texas last week, throw out that 1 and 2 at Texas significantly flatter than any of the turns here at Charlotte, but the tracks, they feel like they would be similar. 1.5 mile, quad oval, front straightaway, all those things look alike, but this track, so much more narrow than Texas is, so hard to avoid trouble, and it kind of winds up racing similar to Texas 3 and 4 because you still have that primary line on the inside, you still maybe have a lane or 2 at most that you can make work in the middle of the turns, but just cut down half of that racetrack, and then it just makes it where, well, I was just about to say, you have trouble that can lurk anywhere, and there we see it with the 6 truck of Dan Park.
Yeah, so he's already got some heavy damage to the engine as well. You see the smoke pouring out from that dark tank racing machine. So let's go ahead and cue up that Sparkle and Shine mobile detailing rec replay, figure out exactly what happened here. Might have been racing with one of his tank racing teammates here. Walt Lepicki to his inside. Yeah, it just comes down on the nose there, gets turned, and gets a hard hit. It actually flips the truck too. Big time damage for Daniel Park there.
Man, a little bit of a Jessica Friesen kind of sneaky flip there on us. Did not expect that to happen, but yeah, it just looked like he was ready to settle into the inside of that turn, and I don't think Walt had the same type of line. He kind of enters that turn a little bit later, it seems, and that little bit of mix-up just kind of meeting in the middle, and when he got loose, Walt just didn't have anywhere really to go and just kind of caught him a second time, and that kind of finished the job and sent him flipping. So unfortunate that 2 teammates getting caught up here pretty early in this race, and that 6 truck is going to have some heavy, heavy damage.
Yeah, taking a big time tumble through turns 1 and 2 right there. So unfortunately, that's going to hurt his chances in that Tier 2 standings, but does have 1 drop week in that. So we'll see a few guys coming down pit road, looking like quite a few. We got Bobby Anderson as well as Lingerfeld, Ben Mueller, Lucas Lyons, Ben Park, Burnell, a handful of guys, about 10 or 11 to be exact, coming down pit road.
Yeah, really feels like it was, want to say Bobby Anderson was the first one on track that made that pit stop. He was around the 7th or 8th position at the time of that caution, so it's going to be a whole lot of guys back from there, but the top 6 or 7 really staying in place, which, you know, the tire fall off is going to be pretty heavy, but I understand staying out after 6 green flag laps. It's an interesting call. That's kind of one of those coin flip situations.
Yeah, so Lane Doyle, we saw that hard charge to the front. He is still in that number 1 position with his teammate Ryan Johnson, looking like he's going to be lining up to the inside with Doyle taking the outside here. Harris and Nixon going to be in your row 2. Madden and Jensic. So Rat Pack Racing also having a solid night to start. He's going to be restarting in 6th. Trevor Williams, Brad Herman in row number 4. And Jose Castellanos, Jonathan Byer going to restart in the 5th row. So a lot of big hard chargers so far. Derek Da Silva up 6 from where he started back there as well. But right now it looks like it's going to be AJ Pritchett's butt kicker hard charger of the race to this point, up 7 positions from where he started.
A solid job making his way through the field. That's pretty much what he's done all season long. He's up in the top, I believe, 8 in the hard charger standings entering this race, and just quietly keeps working his way through the field and winds up around that top 10, top 12 most weeks. Really fitting run for his season. And you mentioned Rat Pack taking up row 3 out here. Don't think that they don't know that there's only one in the top 15 for Jonathan Byer racing their opponents here this round, and that being Jonathan Byer himself running in the 10th position. They see the opportunity here. It is early, but they see that they can get into a really good position here in this team race.
Yeah, Landon Cardullo started this race in 24th. He's back at 17th right now, so he's going to be looking to maybe move up a few more spots and help his team out, but they're all right there. Jacob Zala there in 16th too, so Jonathan Byer might have some help here in a second. We might see a great team battle here tonight, but these guys are going to really have to battle to keep that 48 from winning another one here tonight. Already up to the front when he started in 2nd, but now he's got to get by his teammate Lane Doyle, who's got to be pretty hungry at this point, winning week number 1, but winless in 14 straight weeks now. He wants to taste victory lane again. Let's see if he can get it done with this Silverback Tag Solutions green flag.
Nice jump for the 47 on the outside. Not going to be a problem for him to come right back down. In fact, he's got about a 3 truck length advantage going into turn number 1. And his teammate Ryan Johnson having to hold off a swarm right now. 2 wide racing behind him with Nixon on the outside, Harris on the inside. And they are still right on that tailgate of the 48.
Yeah, Harris trying to complete the pass here. I think he's going to clear the 98. The 98 going to have to try and get down on the inside lane, but he wants to keep that run on the outside. Going to try and make the pass, but not able to do that. It's going to settle into 4th place with his teammate Michael Madden just behind him.
I think these guys know that they put a little bit of wear on those tires. There's about half the field that made a pit stop behind them. They've got 4 fresh tires. They're kind of sitting here a little bit more single file than they were before. Still a little bit of side-by-side racing. I just saw one catch the wall back there a little bit as well. Not sure who that was. But I think they're kind of knowing that they got to settle in or else they're going to be in big trouble if they really abuse these tires with everybody with fresher tires behind this group.
Yeah, well, Brad Herman not too worried right now. He's making that outside lane look really appealing to some of these guys. Look at that speed he has over Michael Madden there. Just flies straight on by the 15 and then gets right up to the outside of the 98. He's making a move to 4th now. Gets on by him, and he's going to be looking to make the pass on Andrew Harris. This 85 is looking really good right now early on in this run.
Man, you do not see outside runs like that a whole lot. Real tight to the 87 there in the middle of 3 and 4. Harris does come right back down to the inside, giving that little bit of space, but I think that held the progress for both of them just a little bit, pulling them back towards the 98, then closer to the 48 in front of them. But that 85, running that high line, he is making it work, but I got to ask, how long can he make that work? How long are those tires going to hold? I think the trucks, they can make the outside line work a little bit more than the Xfinity and the Cup cars can, just the way that they handle around this track, but the tire wear is still going to be significant.
Yeah, well, he's going on by Ryan Johnson now to the outside of that 48. He's going to try and take 2nd, and I mean, as many laps, he's picked up 5 spots. This 85 is on a tear to the front. Andrew Harris taking note. He wants to go with him, sees how that outside lane is working. It's looking bad fast here, but like you said, got to see how it works out in the long run. Not worried about it right now. The 85 taking a look to the inside of Lane Doyle.
Man, that was a power cut down to the inside, trying to get into position and get that nose underneath the 47, but it was unable to hold on to that inside line. Lane Doyle going to pull back away. Andrew Harris, or he's going to be Brad Herman. What's he going to try this time? He's going to come back down to the inside and leave Harris by himself on the outside.
So a great race up front here early on in this thing, and it's not settling down at all. Ryan Johnson wants that position back from Brad Herman, takes it to the inside, gets really tight though. You can see it and had to get out of it a little bit, killed the momentum. See if the 85 is able to clear him. I don't think so. It's a drag race down the front stretch into turn 1, and it's going to stack it up behind them too. Harris to the outside, Nixon to the inside behind these guys, and bringing a few other guys as well into the mix. We're going to see Michael Madden coming back up here soon, as well as Jonathan Byer, Trevor Williams getting back up here. So it's a battle for this top 5, top 6.
Yeah, that's starting to pull that second group in just a little bit, about a tenth of a second a lap, it looks like at the moment, from Michael Madden in 7th leading that second pack. The one that I really like right now, just kind of buying his time inside this group, is sitting in that 6th position. I like what Trevor Williams is doing. He's seeing how racy these guys are getting. He's just going to say, you know what, I'll sit back here, let y'all do that, and I'll take advantage here, and probably a few laps from now, once those tires really start to feel it.
Riding on board with Ryan Johnson, who's currently battling with Brad Herman just to his outside, trying to stay within reach of his teammate Lane Doyle here, but he's got his own battles to worry about back here. He cannot shake this 85, who's just destined to get up in front of this thing. He looks bad fast here at Charlotte. And Brandon, I'm not sure if you have these stats handy, but how did Brad do last year at Charlotte? Because he had to be a front runner in that one as well.
I can pull that up real quick, actually. I can tell you a whole lot about this season, but let me pull that up, actually.
Well, while you do that, we'll check out this battle between Sean Jensik and Jonathan Byer here. So we saw Jensik moving up early on in this race, has fallen back a little bit. That's Byer moving up to 8th. Move Jensik back to 9th, with Blair Holman now taking a look to his outside, and a few other guys to take note of as well. Jose Castellanos up in the mix, as well as Landon Cardulo, Bo Tiffany, and Bobby Anderson. So this second pack just as good as this first pack up front.
And that gave me just enough time, but probably not the answer Brad would want to hear, but it was 20th place last season, 1 lap down. So not sure what happened to get him 1 lap down. Don't quite have that kind of memory a season and a half ago, but yeah, not quite the finish that he's showing here with the pace tonight, at least.
Oh, I think we might see a battle for the lead heating up here, already turning lap number 20, so starting to see that where I think this could be turned into just a one-stop race, right, Brandon?
It's going to be a stretch, but it is possible that they can make this a one-stop race. It's kind of similar to last week, though there's going to be a little bit less time off the throttle than there was last week, because of turns 1 and 2 at Texas, you really get off that throttle a whole lot more. So they're going to have to reach if they want to do it, maybe get another caution to make it a little bit easier.
So Bobby Anderson back here battling with Landon Cardulo, as well as Sean Jensik and Blair Holloman. This pack is really starting to heat up, as Lucas Lyons trying to get in the mix as well, and Ben Park leading that third pack further on back. But Bobby Anderson down 5 positions from where he began the night. He's going to be looking to make those up. Tough doing here, though. 3 wide racing just in front of him. Nowhere to go for this 18.
Yeah, you're just kind of holding there, and Landon Cardulo didn't look like he wanted to hold behind him too much longer either, but he kind of had to buy his time there. He took that look to the inside, thought better of it, but still side by side, and this is a great look at just how narrow this racetrack is. We go from Texas last week, where it looks like it's 10 lanes wide. Charlotte at times feels and looks like it's only 2 lanes wide at times. It is a super narrow racetrack. Hello. There's Bo Tiffany there in the 4. Had a nice tight moment there. Now he's stuck in the middle 3 wide between Blair Holloman and Lucas Lyons. They're going to make that work, but 3 wide through Charlotte does not work often.
Yeah, I'm not sure Bo was ready for that move, and it kind of killed that whole lap for him. You saw how many spots the 4 lost, so moved Bobby Anderson up a position, back up to 11th here now, and now battling with Jose Castellanos to try and make his way into the top 10, and they're side by side heading down to turn 1, so maybe Bobby just saving a little bit here. He's been really patient of late. And a funny stat you wrote down, Brandon, average finish first 10 races for Bobby Anderson was a 21.2. Last 4 since his win, a 10.0. So right around where he's been finishing here and wouldn't be surprised if you see this 18 pick up a few more.
And you can't be surprised anyway, because this is just what he does when the playoffs
It really
come
is,
around.
yeah.
He always finds a way to just keep advancing, find his way in the championship race, and he'll normally do it by a couple points every time. I have been around that cut line enough for my life. I don't want to do it anymore, but Bobby Anderson, I think he loves being around that cut line. He just knows how to mathematically find his way into the next round.
There's Ben Park up 8 positions now, battling with Blair Holloman here for 14th. So Ben Park with a good run up to the front, and he's going to need that good run because he's one of those drivers who needs to gain some points here this week. Only 11 points to the good, sitting there in 8th place, fitting, but I'm sure he wants to be a little bit further up in these standings and maybe build that gap over Nick Holliday, Lingerfeld, Pritchett, Holloman, and Trevor Williams, all who are well within grasp, and Jose Castellanos as well, who's having a decent evening tonight. So he's going to need to pick up some more spots in this 8 machine if he's going to want to feel a little comfortable heading into Michigan.
Yeah, and earlier we talked about Andrew Harris having 5 straight weeks of a top 10 and a not top 10, kind of alternating themselves, make it 7 straight weeks of such for Ben Park. And unfortunately for him, last week was a 6th place. So if that trend continues, that might be a little bit worrisome there. But there's always a time to break one of those trends. This might be the week, as he's got a pretty stout truck right now in that 8. Now on the inside of Jose Castellanos in the 5. This, I believe that's a new sponsor there for Jose as well.
That's great to see Jose in new colors this week. Looking good, representing them out there tonight. But look at this battle back here. I mean, you got Landon Cardullo just in front of these guys side by side with Sean Jensick. And then you got Jose Castellanos side by side with Ben Park. And then just behind them, you got Bo Tiffany that's side by side with Blair Holloman. So great battles all the way around this 1.5 mile oval. But it's heating up front, too. Lane Doyle closely followed by his teammate Ryan Johnson, who's just about a truck length behind him, not letting him get away. But Lane Doyle doing a great job leading all these laps here tonight. It's got to be a confidence booster for him.
This is a huge confidence boost, and we talk about how some of these guys have really built up momentum as the season has gone along. And Lane Doyle, I mean, he's still 5th in the point standing, so this is going to sound like a knock, but it's really not. He's still having a heck of a season. First 7 races, 6 top 10s, average finish of 5.3. Last 7 races, 2 top 10s, average finish of 15.7. This is the kind of run that Lane needs to really get that momentum back on track. He kind of lost it around that Phoenix, Atlanta time where he still had some good finishes, but it just kind of seemed to start getting away from him, and that's where Ryan Johnson really started to heat up at the same time. So it was kind of an interesting time where they crossed paths. And speaking of crossing paths, got a race for 3rd here now. Andrew Harris to the inside of Brad Herman, and I think Brad, seeing that fall off there, a little bit heavy with how aggressive he was on those tires. He's kind of lost the pace.
Yeah, it was good to go and try it out, though. You got 95 laps to figure out something here, so why not test it out? We'll see if it hurts him more in the long run. He's finished, or he's currently 2nd in the standings, though, with a 36-point gap over the cut line. He's feeling pretty confident that he's going to probably clinch his spot in that top 10 after this race here tonight. So why not try a few things out, see if he can get lucky. But you're right, he's all the way back to 5th now and under attack from Jonathan Byer. So good to see Byer battling to move into the top 5 here tonight.
Yeah, this is a good run for Jonathan Byer. It's been a little bit since we've seen him have a successful finish at the end of a race. He had the 11th last week. That was his best finish in about a month of non-top 20 finishes there. So it's good to see him kind of getting that momentum back. And what's been a hectic season for him on the virtual track, off the virtual track. So a whole lot going on with him in good ways as he graduated college this semester. So congrats to him. But yeah, it's good to see him kind of getting some of that momentum back in his favor.
Yeah, so someone keeping that momentum in his favor right now. Bobby Anderson picking up another spot over Nathan Nixon, so he's up in the 8th position now. Lucas Lyons making the pass, too, for 9th. And we got a yellow flag here, looking like it's Dean Gagliano this time.
Yep, JW Racing, man, it has been hot, cold this playoff, and there's another instance of a cold moment there. Dean Gagliano, he's been putting together some solid runs here lately, but see some heavy damage there to the back end, pretty crinkled up on the 45. Some right side damage as well as the Sparkle and Shine mobile detailing rec replay. Oh, wow. Hello.
Yeah, he just comes down in front of Connor Cunningham in that 63, who was a little bit further back than I was expecting to see tonight. He showed quick times in practice, but started the race back and looking like 29th position, and unfortunately gets caught up in this one here. Take another look at that from Connor Cunningham's on-board camera. You're just going to see Gagliano gets into the wall and just comes down a little bit too much right in front of the 63. Sends that 45 spinning with some significant damage. 63, though, I believe might be okay.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about how crinkled up that nose is on the 63, but aside from that, not terrible. He's still got pretty decent aero for the most part, but that nose going to be a little bit concerning. And yeah, that's just a tough break there. He really had nowhere to go. I mean, Dean got up against the wall, and sometimes you really got to yank that truck away from the wall. And sometimes when you do that, it kind of snaps on you and cuts hard left. And I think that's what happened there to the 45.
So there you see the admins putting that cause caution on the 45 of Dean Gagliano. Really beat up 45 truck, going to come down pit road, serve his penalty as well as start in the back here. So tough break for JW Racing right there, who needs all the help they can get with this team battle. They are not out of it by any means over Tank Racing. So we'll go back out and see. We got somebody staying out there on the track. Looking like it's going to be Jason Cracky, who didn't come down pit road in the 54, the only driver not to do so.
Yeah, and you know, he's going to be running in that Tier 2 championship, going for that. Also, every point matters in the team side as well, so he's going to pick up a bonus point staying out in front. So that's, you know, that every little bit helps there in those battles. That might be part of that decision making.
Well, we're going to go ahead and step aside since this is our second caution of the night, nearing the halfway point in this one. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
All right, we are back here. Pace car lights are off. About to get this thing back underway once we hit lap 38 here, and we kind of talked about it during that break, Brandon, kind of throwing the strategy a little bit out the window, but I kind of digress. I think it kind of spices it up a little bit. It's going to really shake things up on when people decide to come down and maybe try an undercut, and you can go a little bit longer in a run now that you have fresh tires. When would you go?
Oh man, that's a tough one because you're looking at these trucks. The fall off is significant, not as significant as it might be for the Xfinity cars and the Cup cars. The way that they handle, you're looking at 60 laps on these tires, 60 laps from to the finish, I should say. Very likely, I think you're going to see most everybody come in and break this up into halves, 30 and 30. I think there's going to be some guys maybe try to gamble around 25, stretch this thing 35 laps at the end. But I think if anybody paid attention to Texas last week, I think they see how that can backfire. I had firsthand knowledge of that, trying to undercut and stretching it a little bit too long. So I think you might see people maybe try to employ the overcut that we saw a whole lot last week here again this week.
Yeah, I wanted to text you so bad and be like, don't do it. But hindsight is 20/20. And another thing that's 20/20 is that restart by Lane Doyle gets another great one. So it gets a good gap between him and his JW Racing teammates. It's trifecta out front with Doyle, Johnson, and Williams leading the way.
Yeah, that JW Racing trio is looking very stout, but don't count out Andrew. Oh, wow. Wow, I almost completely jinxed that one. Very tight moment there for the 87 of Andrew Harris and the 46 of Trevor Williams, both having a great run, both real tight to each other on that exit of 2 on cold tires. That is normally a double whammy situation, but they did a great job of keeping those trucks straight.
Well, now Jonathan Byer trying to go straight on by that 46 to take 4th place away. And Brad Herman wanting to go along with him, so the 46 is going to really have to fight here to stay up front. We saw him fall back a little bit in that run early on in that first green flag stint, so he probably knows it's not the best to lose all this track position here. It's hard to pass later in the run, so he's got to maintain if he can, but hard to do so when he's stuck on the outside. Almost gets into Byer there, but they stay off each other as we're turning lap number 40 here in Charlotte.
And that's the tougher end of the racetrack when you're on the outside, is exiting turn 4, because this turn really just wants to launch you outside towards that wall. Turn 2, you can kind of have a little bit gentler of an exit. It's weird because it doesn't look like that should be with the geometry of the racetrack, but the way that it runs, turn 4 really wants to kick you to the outside. It gets tighter on exit than you would expect. So they're doing a great job of making it work, but if you're going to be stuck on the outside anywhere, you don't want it to be turn 4 for the most part.
Well, making the inside lane work is Jonathan Byer in the 66, trying to clear the 87, but unable to do so. He's had a good run up to the top 3, but Andrew Harris putting up a strong fight to the outside now, and Ryan Johnson has a mirror full of both of these trucks. Almost made contact there, but Andrew Harris looking like he's going to make a run for second now. This is just shaking up all over the place. Don't know how it's going to sort itself out, but pretty damn exciting to watch, Brandon.
Super exciting unless you're driving that 48. You are not loving what you're seeing with that kind of a hornet's nest going on behind. And I mean, not too far off, we're seeing nearly 3 wide racing, a big pack of trucks coming in. He's doing yeoman's work of an effort right now, trying to keep everybody away from that 47 at the moment. And this kind of has a feel of like a Daytona style race on these fresher tires, with everybody being super aggressive, everybody all bunched up for the most part here. And we're seeing some big blocks, we're seeing some big runs. This is just incredible racing tonight here with these trucks.
Yeah, only 2 cautions to this point, officially almost to the halfway mark of this one. But Jonathan Byer not giving up here. He's taking a look to the inside of Andrew Harris. Harris not worried about it. He's going to take a look to the outside of Ryan Johnson again. Can't make it stick off the edge there of turn number 4. Loses momentum, and that gets the 66 back to the inside. It's just it's like a teeter-totter at this point, Brandon. It just keeps going back and forth, and nobody really can determine who's going to beat out the other guy.
It's absolutely wild, and kind of what I was talking about a few laps ago. You would feel like the outside line is going to build all that momentum, and it does on exit of 2, but on exit of 4, you don't quite have that confidence to really stay in the throttle as much for most drivers most of the time, and it does kill that momentum, and it makes the inside line really able to defend against the outside going down a straightaway, which normally you don't see. We get another look at it here coming off of turn 2 as we got Michael Madden to the inside of Bobby Anderson. Also got Lucas Lyons in that 7 truck. He's the highest placing non-playoff driver right now in 9th. So real tight racing here pretty much throughout the entire field.
Yeah, so the only driver in the top 10 with the red number going to that 7 Kitty Cat coin Chevy Silverado. Just kind of funny to say that, but it feels like there's every kind of Bitcoin type of currency out there these days. So no surprise to see Lucas in the Kitty Cat coin machine. And that thing looks fast here tonight. He's up to 8th. Makes that pass look easy on the 15 of Madden. Lucas Lyons slowly but surely picking him up after starting in the 21st position here tonight. Already up to 8th.
He and Landon Cardulo, who's right behind a couple of trucks, they are doing an incredible job working their way through the field. Plus 13 for Lyons, plus 14 for Cardulo. So they've done great work conserving those tires, but still being aggressive, picking their spots. This is a very difficult track to make passes on, and they've been making good use of the opportunities that they've had.
Yeah, so Michael Madden going to look to maybe keep that battle going here for 8th place, but Lucas Lyons going to try and defend. He's got a hard charge, and Landon Cardulo just behind him as well, up 14 positions. Officially our butt kicker hard charger of the race, and officially my favorite paint scheme of the race too. Look at this beauty.
That is a good looking one. I was going to say it almost had like a Kyle Busch Interstate Batteries kind of feel, but that is glitch, of course, as is usual for that 13 truck. So, powerful a little bit in its own right, unlike a battery. But Landon doing a great job making his way through, and now up into the 9th position. And like I was saying at the start of this race, I think he had a little slip up in qualifying, but that 13 truck, a lot of speed around these 1.5 miles and a lot of speed lately as well.
And a big battle up front. Ryan Johnson, Doyle side by side as the caution comes out here.
Ooh, not sure who that's going to go to, but the caution is going to go Terrell Mason. They're still wrecking.
Wow, a lot to sort out here. As we go up and queue up another Sparkle and Shine mobile detail and rec replay. Going to follow along with Raul Meza from the blimp cam here.
Well, this is the original wreck, and
kind of just go there.
Maybe a little netcode, little meeting in the middle as well as 36 came up, 37 was coming down, and wow. Not sure who that was at that first glance. But we'll see the 36 just drift up, little netcode there. They might have made contact eventually anyway, as he kind of did come up a little bit more. And then the 37 just there and sitting duck for the 27 of Ben Mueller, and then, wow, randomly, just behind that, Lipicki and Cunningham getting caught up in this. So this is a heavy toll on tank and dark tank racing drivers here in this one. And see the wreck back there, not sure. Oh, I think he got hit from behind, checking up. Maybe didn't get quite. Yeah, he started checking up, and then whoever was behind him, it looks like Jacob Zala was there. Yeah, just a little contact, little pace difference there, and that just turned Lipicki into that wreck, and then nowhere for Cunningham to go.
Yeah, Cunningham having a tough night indeed. So a lot to sort out for these admins, but a lot to sort out for these leaders, all of them coming down pit road. And we saw this man battling with his teammate Ryan Johnson before that caution, but Ryan Johnson going to assume the lead after pit stops here. He comes out in front. There you see Edmonds going to go ahead and put that EOL on the 36 of Austin Purnell. So he came up a little bit there in 1 and 2. He's going to have to pay the piper when it comes to penalties here and start in the back of this race. So new leader, Ryan Johnson, out in front of this thing.
Yeah, and his teammate and man that's led pretty much this entire race, Lane Doyle, falling back to the 3rd position, it looks like. So I mean, everything kind of levels off pit stop wise in terms of the actual time of a pit stop here on iRacing. So that tells me either a little bit slower on entry and entering into the box, a little bit slower exiting, or maybe just kind of overshooting the pit or undershooting that pit just a little bit. But that 2-position difference going to be interesting to see how Lane reacts to that. Going to assume that the 48 will take the inside to get lined up with a teammate though on this restart.
So let's go ahead quickly glance at those standings one more time. pretty much can confirm that Ryan Johnson has solidified his spot in the round of 10 with the bonus points he's accrued here tonight, as well as just starting the race with not a full field. 33 drivers in the field tonight. The math checks out in my head. Just not sure if it officially checks out on paper just yet. Brad Herman in second. He's having a great run in fourth currently tonight. Michael Madden in third in these standings, currently back there in 10th place. Cardulo, fourth place, running seventh tonight. Lane Doyle in fifth, running third. Jonathan Byer also having a great run. He is in sixth in these standings, currently running in fifth place tonight. But then you get Bobby Anderson back there in seventh, who's back in ninth. Can't afford to lose any spots. Ben Park, though, not having the best night so far. Up 8 from where he started, but currently in the 14th position. And then Sean Jensick, you find him a little bit further back. He's back in 21st, so he might find himself in that red side of things if he's not too careful here. Andrew Harris, he's having a great night so far, currently second. So a lot to go for these guys in the top 10. Most of them having great nights here this evening.
Yeah, it's really kind of playing out like Texas did last week, where we had 8 of the top 10 all inside the top 12 at the end of that race. Here in this one, 8 of the top 10 all sitting with quality runs right now. It's only Park and Jensick outside of the top 10, but to their to what might ease their tension a little bit on this, it's really just Trevor Williams who's running in the 6th position right now, and Jose Castellanos in 13th. They're the only two right now that are really putting any pressure from below the cut line right now. Castellanos having to make up a 24-point margin. Williams only having to make up 8. So I think right now, if you're Sean Jensick, you're kind of looking at this like, all right, I might be pretty close to that cut line if it ended right now. But Williams and Castellanos trying to make that play to move up.
Yeah, not something you want to have to worry about when we get to the cutoff week next week at Michigan. And I like to describe that track as you either love it or you hate it. It's a really difficult track, and I mean, on paper it seems like it should be easy. You just kind of hold the gas down, but the line is everything there, and it's not everyone's cup of tea. So Sean going to have to really build on that running order tonight. He did spend an extra 10 seconds on pit road, so that could be why he's lost a few positions. We'll see if he can get back up closer towards the front.
Yeah, he has been up there in the top 10 for much of this race, so I was a little bit curious how he got back there, but that does add up a little bit of time on pit road.
So pace car lights are off for the third caution of the night. Going to start this thing back up on lap 54. And that all but seals it. I believe these guys can make it all the way to the end of this thing. We will not see any more pit stops if this thing stays green. So it's going to be a battle of the long run cars here tonight if it does in fact stay green. And speaking of green, that's Silverback Tax Solutions. Green flag is back out here at Charlotte.
I can add to it, speaking of green, 9 of the top 10 drivers all with that green spoiler and green banner, as it has been a successful night for playoff guys, successful night for JW Racing, as they once again lined up 1-2 with Johnson and Doyle. This time, though, reverse from what we've seen for the first half of this race, as it's Johnson out in front ahead of Lane Doyle. Harris, Herman, Byer, Williams all close to him, and Byer sliding to the inside, trying to collect it. He does so!
Nixon gets into him there. And Jose Castellanos taking a turn now. Big hit
hard
for
hit.
Cracky, and I believe that was Kosher as well. Wow. Well, let's go ahead, cue up another Sparkle and Shine mobile detailing wreck replay. We kind of saw that one happening live.
Man, just Jose continuing to have absolutely the worst luck here in the Truck Series this season. It all started, Jonathan Byer getting loose off of turn 4, trying to collect it, did a good job, but he came up onto the track right in front of these just pack on fresh tires and screaming out of turn 4. And Castellanos got turned around. We caught Kosher there at the end, getting caught up in this one. Here's the view for Jose. And he gets onto the brakes here because he sees Byer there. He just had nowhere to go, and Zala was trying to go to the outside and just power through it. Caught the right rear of Castellanos, and Kratky had nowhere to go as Castellanos turned sideways on a narrow racetrack right in front of him.
Yeah, so we'll go right on board with Jose. You can see the car's slowing up. You see Beyer getting loose there, saves it, comes back up on the track. Jose sees that. He's right in front of him, nowhere for him to go, just gets turned and goes for a ride here. Big hit from Cracky, like you said, and then another big hit for Sean Kozier right there. A lot of trucks. Going to be spending a lot of time on pit road after that one.
And that's just, it's this part of the race, the second half of the race. People are trying to find every opportunity to make passes. And, yeah, I mean, Castellanos checks up. Zala just tries to power by on the outside, and wasn't really a lot of space the way that they kind of met there. And there's just an unfortunate situation there for Castellanos, Kratky, and Kozier all getting heavy damage in that.
Well, we'll see a mixed bag of drivers coming down pit road. Looking like 13 stayed out. The rest going to come down and get 4 fresh tires and fuel. So that one going to go on the 75 of Jacob Zala. He's going to be serving that EOL penalty.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that call there. Just didn't. There's a lot more options there. Went to that high side, and yeah, I mean the ruling is if you cause the caution. So technically, I know there might be some that say that Beyer sliding coming back up onto the track, but everybody was working their way around it. So the caused caution itself would go towards that 75.
We'll come back and turn this thing loose, I feel like, around lap 60, so do not go anywhere. We will be right back after this commercial break.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
All right, pace car lights are off, Brandon. We're about to get this thing kicked back off, and it's starting to get a little spicy up front. A lot of heavy hitters with Johnson, Doyle, Harris, Herman, Williams all up there, and then Lucas Lyons, who's just got nothing to lose here tonight. He is the only driver there in the top 6, as he's on the outside there. I just saw him cycle up to 5th there, but he's up here contesting with these guys and picked up 16 positions so far, as well as Landon Cardullo back there in 8th. So a lot of names we're used to seeing up front, with maybe a few newcomers as well. It's always what we want to see here.
Absolutely, and we gave out the wild card playoff spot, the lucky dog, last week, but I think that wild card tonight definitely in that 7 truck. Lucas Lyons, you said it best. He's got nothing to lose. He's not in this playoff. He can go for it. He can be aggressive, and I think there's a lot of guys looking at if they're going to be able to make it on fuel mileage, think if you're in that 7 truck, you just go for it and see where the cards fall.
Absolutely. So we're going to see that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag back out here in Charlotte. Kicking it off with the JW Racing trucks of Lane Doyle and Ryan Johnson out in front.
And Ryan Johnson back on the gas after spending pretty much that entire caution clutching that 48 truck, trying to get every bit of fuel he can out of this thing in case this thing goes green the rest of the way, but he's still going to be holding off Lane Doyle. Andrew Harris right behind. Trevor Williams has a nose to the inside of that 87, and then Herman and Lyons side by side behind them.
Yeah, so they're battling for 5th back there, but coming to complete lap 60 right here. Ryan Johnson going to lead another one, and just look at this awesome camera here in Charlotte. Great battling throughout this field. Gotta love it here on Speed Racing Network. Look at this. We're going to have 3 wide battling back here shortly if Landon Cardillo is feeling that froggy in that green car out of JBR. So Brad Herman up to 4th, trying to hold off the hard-charging Landon Cardillo, but right now that 13's got one thing in mind, and that's the front of this race.
Yeah, that 13 on absolute rails tonight here in this race. He's picked up now 20 positions up to the 4th spot from 24th on the starting grid. He wants at least another one. He's going to get that 3rd spot. He wants 2 more. He's got a big run on the outside.
And hey, by the way, Andrew Harris took the lead from Ryan Johnson as well. A lot happening up front. New leader, 87, in charge of this thing, but's going to have to hold off Landon Cardillo, who's made his way all the way up from 24th position. Has one more position to gain. Takes a look to the outside. Really tight battling here between these two.
Yeah, that was really tight there. I thought he had the nose to the outside, maybe did by an inch, but that inside angle through that second dogleg gave Harris the advantage, but no advantage here down this back straightaway. Inside run for Landon Cardillo. He's going to stick the nose just ahead, but they're going to be side by side off 4.
Yeah, Landon Cardillo not able to complete the pass as they start lap number 64 here tonight. And just like that, we're under yellow again, looking like Raul Meza, possibly Walt Lipicki involved in this one as well. You see him still kind of spinning out here on the front straightaway.
Oh, no! Oh, no.
Let's go ahead, cue up another Sparkle and Shine mobile detailing wreck replay. These cautions starting to add up here. Not used to seeing this in the truck series.
No, and I think it all comes back to here we are at a narrow racetrack, and oh man, Jose Castellanos again. But Walt Lipicki kind of got stuck to the inside there, 3 wide, just ran out of space, and washed up that racetrack pretty hard right into Jose and turned him around. And oh man, Austin Purnell, unfortunate victim there.
Yeah, that's going to pretty much end the night for the 36 with that sort of hit. Let's go ahead and check it out from Raul Meza's point of view here. He had a wild ride through all of that in the 37 out of Stryker Motorsports.
He's already got some pretty heavy damage from that earlier wreck. I believe it was 2 cautions ago. See where he's at. Oh, nice evasion there.
Yeah, it looked really close with him, and like Taylor Smith also taking the good way around. He kept that truck going, looking clean in that 24 as well. So we'll take a look at his view of all this. Scott Meza just in front of him here. You see the EOL going on Walt Lipicki there. Yeah, real close between him and Raul. Goes through the grass and thinks better of it, and lives to see another lap here.
You know, I wish more people knew that at Charlotte it's turf. And iRacing's done a pretty good job. If you catch the turf, it's not going to spin you instantly like grass does on the surface. So you can kind of hold a little bit more pace. You can hold a straight line through that AstroTurf out there on that front straightaway infield. So good decision there from Taylor Smith, opting, you know what, that turf, I can kind of hold this line. It's a little bumpy on the way down there, but can hold the line and make it work.
Boy, we got a mixed bag of pit stops here. 4 drivers choosing to stay out. That first driver going to be Ben Park. He's going to have the lead in this thing. Sean Jensick up to second now. Lingerfelt and Gagliano going to round out the set of drivers that did not come down pit road. Then Ryan Johnson, Lane Doyle, Lucas Lyons, and Trevor Williams. All 4 of those drivers opting to take 2 tires and come back out. Then Andrew Harris in 9th with 4 tires. And then Bobby Anderson in 10th, who also decided to take 2. A complete mixed bag here. Jonathan Byer back at 13th. He took 2 tires. And then looking like just about everybody else going to take 4 tires in this one. So it's kind of to that point where any strategy can work. And boy, for a second there, I was really second. I was really worried that I just randomly got kicked from the server. But luckily, you're still here.
I was looking at my second my second view and everything, making sure that we were good. And one thing that I have had an issue with is my overlay. So please tell me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe all 4 of these trucks pitted on that last caution.
They did,
not
yeah.
too long ago. So
well, Ben
they
Park
should...
pitted lap 50, and then Sean Jensick, Lingerfeld, Gagliano pitted on that last one in 56. So we've had a run of them here lately. So Ben Park 2 cautions ago, and the other 3 1 caution ago. So yeah, kind of a mixed bag here.
Yeah, that makes me a little concerned for a couple reasons on that 8 truck, just because of the tire difference. There's going to be some wear on it. I understand why he wants to get out in front. He's been kind of sitting there in the mid-teens most of this race, but that's going to be tough there. It's going to be tough on the fuel mileage. He should be all right with the cautions that we've had, but it's going to be tight for him there. For Jensick, Lingerfeld, Gagliano, they should be all right. Not a ton of green flag time on those tires. The 2-tire versus 4-tire is going to be really interesting. I'm curious how that plays out. Not at all thinking about tomorrow, but I'm really interested to see how these trucks handle the 2-tire call on a racetrack this narrow, on a racetrack this bumpy. It's kind of got those little hard to handle places on it, so I'm really curious how that pays off.
I'm curious as well, and it's always a risk whenever you do decide to take 2 tires as opposed to 4, but it does help you out in regards to, man, what is going on right now, Brandon? Is somebody playing tricks on me? Because you're trying to make my heart stop right now.
Mine is too at the same time, so I ain't playing the trick.
Oh boy. Well, there you see, though, we got a solid-looking top 10 here. But, yeah, it's anybody's game right now with this race, and sometimes you got to take the risks of maybe taking 2 tires, pick up some spots, and that's what we've seen some of these guys do, and it could pay off big time for them in the end. Every point matters in this thing.
Absolutely, and I think there's also that thought, too, of we've seen cautions really start flaring up here in this race. We've had 3 in the second half of this race alone, and we're not that far into the second half of this race, so maybe there's that little bit of, hey, these cautions are just going to keep coming, get me that track position, and we'll make it work with the 2 tires.
So there you see us running through the top 10, capped off by Bobby Anderson back there, out of Bobby Anderson Racing. So a solid field, 2 non-playoff drivers in Gagliano and Lyons sitting in this top 10. It's kind of shaking up the field a little bit after that last caution, but maybe that's what we need to keep this thing green here. I want to keep a nice little run to the end. We got about 27 laps to go before we determine a winner tonight. It is going to be a good one. Ben Park going to get us kicked off here.
Chose the inside, see how that works out for him, as he's going to have those slightly worn tires, but he gets a good launch and pulls a couple truck lengths ahead of Jensick and Lingerfeld, and he's going to get a pretty good lead into turn 1.
Yeah, I do apologize for everybody at home. This does not ever happen, so I do not know what's going on. If anything, it's usually one car out there that's blinking, but the whole field blinking out really making me tense up a little bit, Brandon. That's usually indicative of that you're about to get disconnected here. Everything good on my end. Stream's good. I'm hearing Brandon. Brandon's hearing me. We're staying green here. And looking like we got a nice little battle back here as these older tires are going to start defending against these new tires.
Well, we'll blame the heat out by you here. That's what's going on. And if anything does happen, we can stay on. We'll do our best to give you a bit of a radio call if anything really goes wrong out there. But, yeah, still a big advantage here. About a third of a second. Tenths. Yeah, 3 wide back for 5th, 6th, and 7th as it's Harris and Lyons trying to work their way around. And there's contact to Lingerfeld. He's up into the wall.
Lingerfeld in the wall hard here. Stuck in there. He's going to go around and collect AJ Pritchett, his Dark Tank Racing teammate there. Big time hit for the 14. He's back in the pits.
I didn't even know you can go there.
Boy, oh boy.
How does he get out of that?
He has to take a tow, I'm assuming, which unfortunately I don't think it's going to matter. That's a big hit for that 14 here. We're going to take another look at it. This is after Lyons gets into him. He's stuck in the wall. Gagliano, really close call there, just kind of comes down right in front of the 14. And look at that ride that A.J. Pritchett takes right there.
My goodness, that's one of the most virtually violent impacts I've seen in quite some time, as Lingerfelt, he was trying to hold it up onto the wall and then finally just lost it. And that 14 of A.J. Pritchett, he just got launched. And legitimately, I knew you could at Phoenix go behind that wall, but I did not know that you could go into the infield like that.
Well, after a hit like that, I think his night's done. He can go sightseeing back there because not a lot of guys have been back there like you're saying, but you're exactly right. These are the types of crashes. Now buckle in. Don't take a look at this if you're a little squeamish, but he's going to go for a ride right here. Can't really tell which way's up at this point, and finally going to land back here in the pits where normally the pedestrians are, but luckily they're not here today. They said it's too hot.
Yeah, I think hopefully nobody from NASCAR is watching this and thinking like, oh man, that's possible somehow. That was a very wild ride there for the 14. He's still on pit road though, so maybe he's thinking he might be able to fix that, but I don't quite see how.
Yeah, I mean, as a playoff driver, he's got to try at least, so he's going to see how much he can get fixed and see if he can get back on out there. Maybe pick up a spot or two. Every point going a long way here tonight. So with 23 laps to go, that's going to give us another opportunity to step aside, run one more quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have the finish of this thing when we get back.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
All right, getting back out here on the track. We're going to see those pace car lights turn off this time by, and we're going to have one lap to go before we go green. Ben Park been leading the last handful of laps or so. This caution-riddled race here late on kind of had a good green run there early on in this thing about the first half, but second half, we just talked about it in the break, the aggression really coming out in these guys.
Yeah, you can definitely feel that a lot of these drivers know that there's so many drivers close to that cut line going into what will be the cutoff race next week at Michigan, and in a race where I mean, there's carnage at any point at Michigan, just because you're going to see a lot of 3 wide, 4 wide, and these trucks you're going to see a lot of pack racing as well. So it's going to be really tight there next week. I think you're seeing some guys trying to get all they can here tonight, and it's really put a lot of guys in a pretty compromised position.
Now you talked about next week, 2 weeks. We'll be out at Michigan to finish off this first round of the playoffs. We're going to be off next week. A few of us going out on a vacation. So we're going to take a week off, get away from this thing, come back with a fresh mind, and figure out who our final 10 drivers will be. And then the second round going to be Chicago, Nashville, Kentucky. Not easy tracks by any means, but some fan favorites out there, one of which mine being Kentucky. I absolutely love that racetrack.
Oh, for sure. And all 3 are, that 1 mile to 1.5 mile D-shaped oval. They all sound similar by that, but Chicagoland, curved back straightaway, pretty traditional bankings through the turns. Nashville, concrete. Kentucky, kind of like Texas, one end flatter than the other, really rough racetrack. All 3 are similar, but completely different.
And then you saw that championship race finally on our radar at Homestead Speedway. It's going to be a great time when we get back down to Miami, but we still got to sort this one out here in Charlotte. Silverback Tax Solutions, green flag, back out. 20 laps to go. See who gets it.
Think about this, too. All the carnage that we've been talking about out there in the field, all these guys close to that cut line, 12 of the top 14 drivers on racetrack right now, all playoff drivers. Lucas Lyons, Nathan Nixon, the 2 exceptions.
Yeah, so Ben Park going to try his hardest to hold him off. He loves what he's seeing right now with the side-by-side battle back here between Jensick and Ryan Johnson. So he's going to be able to maybe gain some ground on those 2 drivers if they remain that way. So they're going to have to sort it out amongst themselves. And then side-by-side behind them, between the 87 and 47 of Andrew Harris and Lane Doyle and Trevor Williams. Lucas Lyons, Brad Herman, Landon Cardulo, all closely contested here for this lead.
I think this outside spot, running for second for Sean Jensick, is the one place he didn't want to be right now. Little bit of a disadvantage on the age of the tires by a handful of green flag laps, about 10 laps total, but really focus on the handful of green flag laps. But that outside line just going to wear those tires a little bit more than the inside will, just because the way that you can kind of hook that turn a little bit better. The truck really likes that inside line. Really worried about the long-term effects of that tight racing there on that outside for the 29.
Yeah, we saw Brad Herman do that a little earlier when he was charging his way up to the front of this thing. It is very fast line, and these trucks on that high line has to shut the door on the 87 right there. Andrew Harris doing everything he can to stay off of him. Very tight racing here from second on back to 5th.
And one thing that I don't think anybody likes to see, look at that inside line right now. 1, 2, 3 JW Racing trucks all there. Ryan Johnson actually goes up to kind of cut the run for the 29 on that high line. Does a good job of blocking that. That's a very super speedway type of maneuver there. But, yeah, it's Ryan Johnson now getting that truck clear for the second position, trying to hope that his teammates Lane Doyle and Trevor Williams can follow him through that door.
Let's look at the Hornet's Nest back there. Ben Park doesn't want anything to do with that, but Ryan Johnson now with clean air ahead of those drivers. He was just battling for second. We'll see if he can start to run down this number 8, about 15 lap pressure tires on the 48 machine.
Well, a little bit of good news there for Andrew Harris. Think he was blinking for a little bit. And, he's blinking once again. And I think he's getting a little instruction that he needs to get out of this pack here while blinking. I think that's going to happen on the back straightaway. Super unfortunate there for the 87. As, see if he can get that stabilized on that connection. But that is a huge hit there for Andrew Harris. I don't think he's really in a position where he can do that, though, get out of the way.
Looking like it's holding up so far, and hope it can, because he is that driver that's on the cut line, 4 points to the good, above 10th place. So looking like he's going to stay out there so far. That was Connor Cunningham coming down pit road with that beat up number 63 tank racing machine. So great battle here still between Sean Jensick and Brad Herman for 5th.
Oh, big dive to the inside. Ryan Johnson, this for the race lead to the inside of Ben Park, and he's got a big run down into turn 3. Got that nose about to the 8.
Tight.
Yeah, he's still holding on that outside. Not sure if he's going to be able to hold him off for too much longer, though. Ryan Johnson clears him. Lane Doyle following through. And we're going to have a 1-2 JW Racing once again.
Yeah, we've seen some great battles between these two teammates all the way through this season. We'll see if Lane Doyle can maybe get the upper edge on his teammate out of JW Racing this time. Seems like Ryan Johnson just cannot be beaten here this season. 5 wins already in the books. Looking to make it 6 here possibly tonight.
Just an unbelievable run the last 4 weeks for Ryan Johnson, starting back at Vegas. 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Nearly perfect in the past month for Ryan Johnson. Try to continue that streak and pick up a trio of wins consecutively here if he can back it up in Charlotte.
I think he's going to have his hands full with his teammate here. Lane Doyle, though, spoke about it during the break with you, and I said, took the bold prediction. I think we might see a driver not named Ryan Johnson win here tonight, and my intentions were that Lane Doyle would be possibly the guy who gets that 2nd victory of the season. So we'll see if he's able to make a run here. Looking like he's better through 1 and 2 than Johnson, but Johnson able to keep that truck down the bottom. We'll see if saving tires will matter here. Coming to the stripe to take 10 laps to go.
And we're seeing a bit of a flip from what we saw at Phoenix at the very start of the season, about the 3rd race of the season. It was Lane Doyle leading late, Ryan Johnson 2nd late. Oh, we got one around. It's Andrew Harris. Ben Park catching some air, and we got a big wreck on the front stretch.
Huge wreck. Saw Michael Madden taking a turn through there as well. Brad Herman, big names here in the playoffs involved in this one.
Big playoff implication wreck here. It started from the 3rd position, and that was bound to be a nightmare scenario.
I think Andrew Harris gets into the wall right here, comes down in front of the 46. The 85 can't save it, gets into the fence. A big hit there for Brad Herman. Take a look at that again from maybe Andrew Harris's perspective here. See him get really tight in his turn and gets the wall. It gets out of the gas, but it's not enough. Comes down, and then nowhere for any of these guys to go. Big hit for Park there. Big hit for Madden. He's going through the field. Bo Tiffany involved. Lyons involved. Everybody, it seems like, involved in this one.
From 3rd all the way back to about 15th. Got some piece of this in at least a little bit of a manner. And yeah, you see the 87 get into the wall, 85 nowhere really to go, and man, really unfortunate.
Going to take a look at this one more time. There you see the EOL going to go on Andrew Harris, but I want to ride with Landon Cardulo here, who is in the mix, well in the mix with these guys. We'll go with this cam that's mounted on his chassis here. You can just see all the chaos unfold in front of him. He's going to go right on through all of it.
He might be listening to the broadcast. He took that turf road down through that, and him and Blair Holloman, I think the only 2 in the vicinity of that wreck that found their way through it. Just, man, unbelievable how many trucks got torn up.
So there you see Andrew Harris with another unfortunate night after qualifying on the pole. He's going to need to stay out there, gain every position he can get. Sits on that cut line, did not need a bad run here tonight. He's going to need to back it up and really bring his best stuff at Michigan next week.
Man, unbelievable. And one thing I do want to note here, we had a little bit of a moment that's a rarity. Brad Herman has been on track at the start of every lap this season. The only lap he didn't complete was he got incident pointed out on the final lap a few weeks ago. So that run might very well be over after that hit that we saw. Incredible longevity, incredible consistency for Brad Herman this season. 1,154 laps coming into this race, and he was a part of every single one until this incident.
Yeah, and he's still on pit road, multiple laps down to this point, so I think you're exactly right. Might be seeing that change a little bit, the luck running out here in week number 15. So out in front, Ryan Johnson just in front of his JW Racing teammate. We're going to have 1 lap to go. Actually, nope, I lied because it looked like the flag man was holding up the 1 to go signal. Pace car light's going to stay on here.
I'm kind of curious if there's anybody that's really going to like that. I feel like the 48 and the 47 might like that news, though, because Cardulo and Anderson, they took 4 tires on that last pit stop. They're going to be feeling pretty good out there, might have a little bit better pace now that they've cleared a lot of that traffic. They all got caught up in that incident. So this is going to be really interesting as we come back to that 2-tire, 4-tire talk that we had when everybody made that pit stop pretty late.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this works out, and I think it's going to be a great battle between these 2 JW Racing trucks, but Landon Cardulo has made his way all the way up to the front. We've seen him battling his way up there earlier on in this race, makes his way back up there now, and look behind him in 4th, going to be Bobby Anderson, who we have just said has been on a tear since his win not too long ago in Las Vegas. Still feeling lucky after that one out at the strip. And then Nathan Nixon, another great night for him. Started 5th, running 5th. Real big confidence booster. The highest running non-playoff driver in the field tonight. Jonathan Byer making his way back up to 6th after some troubles earlier. James Kerr in the 7th position. Jacob Zala running in 8th. And Dean Gagliano in the 9th place. And oh, hey, by the way, Taylor Smith, currently our butt kicker hard charger, up 22 positions from where he began this race.
And I remember a little bit ago, Nick Helda from vacation actually in the chat saying he wants to see a little bit more Christmas tree on that pylon. We got a whole lot of Christmas tree on the pylon now. A lot more red numbers showing up inside the top 10 after that wreck that took out a ton of playoff contenders. So that is going to absolutely shake up the field in a big way tonight, but also when it comes to those playoff standings with 1 race left here in the round after tonight.
Yeah, we got to make Nick happy if he's out there on vacation. We certainly appreciate him stopping by. But, man, take a break, sit back, and just check out the results. But, man, we appreciate you stopping by. Enjoy your vacation with the family out there, wherever you may be. So your JW Racing truck teammates looking really good. Like I said, the 47, 48 going to occupy the front row. Ryan Johnson on the point here. He's going to start to the outside lane. Look for him to probably bring his teammate along with him, count him down to this restart like we see a lot of guys do. But want to give a few more honorable mentions. Blair Holloman up to 11th. Raul Meza in 12th, though. Brandon having a great night. And Troy Techmeyer there, 13th, also having a good run here tonight. So great to see some new names really moving their way up through the field. So pace car peels off down pit road, and that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag is back out here in Charlotte. 5 laps to get us a winner.
And you saw a big separation there from about 8th on back, as really only the top 7 trucks without damage right now. So they were able to get a really good jump here on that restart and going to hold some good pace. We got side-by-side racing for 3rd. That might be all that Lane Doyle and Ryan Johnson needed to see in their rearview mirror to try to gap 3rd place Landon Cardulo and 4th place Bobby Anderson.
Yeah, I'm really curious to know how this is working out. I know, as we see Lane Doyle or actually Bobby Anderson taking a spin through the grass back here. No caution just yet as it's off the surface.
I don't think, nearly got into it again. He actually kept that thing off that divider wall on pit road. But unfortunate for Bobby Anderson, yet another playoff driver caught here late in this race, and that's going to open up a huge lead for Johnson and Doyle, nearly a second ahead of Cardulo and Blair Holloman jumping up into the 4th spot.
Yeah, out of nowhere, Blair Holloman quickly into the top 5, as well as James Kerr sitting there in that 5th position. 3 laps to go. It's a battle between teammates. The 48 and the 47 nose to tail down the backstretch.
Hey, Greg, do you think that Lane Doyle has forgotten about Phoenix yet?
No, and that's why I was saying earlier, I wonder how this is going to go this time by Ryan Johnson. Passed him completely clean. Curious to see how aggressive Lane Doyle gets here, being that he hasn't won much this season. Ryan Johnson, 5 wins. He's just been eating it up. Lane Doyle wants another one. Got a taste of it at Daytona, winning the first race of the year. Hasn't won since. Here in week 15, he has a chance to do so with 2 laps to go.
And this is a huge run for Lane Doyle after really struggling in the second half of the season to his first half standards. And he's got that truck right near that tailgate. He's going to have a shot, but how physical, I'll say it like I said it in Phoenix, how physical is he going to want to get with a teammate?
Well, there you saw it, the white flag waving in the flagman's hand. You can see it on board. Lane Doyle trying to shape up his teammates, see if he can maybe make a run on him here. But Ryan Johnson nails that 1 and 2. Gets a little loose on the exit, but I don't think it's enough here as Blair Holloman getting up in the mix, as he's going to not have enough time to do anything with it, though, but going to try and make an effort here on the outside. He's going to get into Lane Doyle there. They make contact, and Ryan Johnson is going to get his 6th win of the season.
My goodness, it was like Doyle and Holloman both went to the Carl Edwards video game move kind of finish there at the end of this thing. Unbelievable finish. And yet again, 3rd straight week, Ryan Johnson race winner.
Absolute domination here by the 48 here so far this season. He is in the round of 10 and feeling pretty good about his chances so far, adding more bonus points to his name, as well as just points and money and everything you could want in general, just pocketing it up as he's inching closer to that $500 prize. Ryan Johnson, your winner here in Charlotte.
And by the way, during that last lap, one other thing that happened, Landon Cardulo got turned around at somewhere, I believe it was in turn 1. That's where I kind of heard that and saw that on my second view. That's what got that reaction out of me as the leaders were coming out of turn number 2. But yeah, so unfortunate break, yet another playoff driver with a rough finish here tonight. And I think it's a good thing these truck drivers have a couple weeks off before we get to Michigan. They might need some time to cool off after the second half of this one.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes these things are there for a reason, and who can't use a nice vacation? Nick Halda just couldn't wait. He had to go out there early, but I know he's still going to be celebrating with his JW Racing teammate Ryan Johnson here tonight, putting Rogue Energy back in victory lane once again. So these truck drivers, they know what they're up against here. This is definitely the favorite when it comes to the championship here this season, but he's going to have to keep it up for 4 more races. Every race counts. So moving on to Michigan next week, we'll see if he can keep it up and keep this streak going.
Man, that'd be absolutely impressive if he can do that. And then you think about it, he's got these last 3 wins, all at 1.5 miles, Kansas, Texas, Charlotte. Michigan, 2 mile, but it still kind of races somewhat similar. I think you talked about how it's love-hate. What Michigan really does is it baits drivers into feeling like they can be far more aggressive because similar to Texas, super wide racetrack. So I think if you had that success at Texas, I think that translates somewhat well, weirdly enough, to Michigan. And man, Ryan just continuing this hot streak, and I think at any type of racetrack he's proved to be a pretty stout competition right now.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly haven't found a track that he's bad at, so we'll see how he does next week when we get out to Michigan. But as always, this winning moment brought to you by TJ's Team Foundation over at morethanAcape.org. He's had a number of these TJ's Team winning moments this season. Still plenty of time. Hey, he still can make it double digits and come away with 10 wins this season.
Well, remember the SRN win record coming into this season, I believe it was, 7?
That's what I think, yeah.
Yeah, 6 this season here in the Truck Series. And I think we also got Joseph Causey now at 6 as well over a couple different series. So we got some guys gunning for that in a single season.
Hey, that's what brings out the best in these drivers. You got to beat the best to be the best. And right now, the 48 definitely up there with the best of them. So he definitely blows up that engine, and he is done celebrating here tonight. So let's go ahead and take a look at those results for race number 2 here in the round of 16. Ryan Johnson up at the top of the standing sheet, followed by his teammate Lane Doyle there in second. Blair Holloman going to round out the podium. Taylor Smith with an amazing run tonight comes home in 4th. And then Jonathan Byer going to come home 5th. Taylor Smith is your butt kicker hard charger of the race 2. 28 positions gained. And that is amazing. Great run, Taylor.
nearly went from back to front here in this one. Sixth place will go to Jacob Zala. Seventh place, James Kerr. Raul Meza, we saw him caught up in a couple incidents out there and still winds up in the 8th position. Troy Techmeyer, another one of the Tier 2 contenders that was up there after last week with 9th, and Dean Gagliano, the third JW Racing driver in the top 10, as he is in 10th.
Yes, look at the 6 red numbers here. Only 4 drivers even in the playoffs in the top 10, so that is going to add some separation to some of these guys here. So, hey, great job by some of these guys who we're not used to seeing up in the top 10. Great confidence boosters for a lot of these guys. Landon Cardulo comes home 11th. Michael Madden in 12th. Jose Castellanos 13th. Bobby Anderson 14th. And Andrew Harris there in 15th.
In 16th place will be Bo Tiffany. 17th will go to Nathan Nixon after a great run. Got caught up there. That 4-lap-to-go incident. First truck 1 lap down will be Sean Jensick, one of our playoff drivers. 19th, 2 laps down, Derek De Silva. And leader for quite a while in the second half of this one, but rounding out the top 20, 8 laps down is Ben Park.
Yeah, it did not end the way Ben Park wanted here tonight. Had a lot of support out there in the chat wanting to see him come away with the win here tonight, but a great run for that driver of the 8 machine. So let's go ahead and move on to the broadcast interview here in the post-race and bring up Blair Holloman, who came home in P number 3. Had a great run up to the front there. Got the door shut on you by Lane Doyle. Kind of expect that towards the end of these things, but what a great run it was. You weren't even close to the front for most of this race, Blair, but end up third. Got to be a good confidence booster heading into Michigan.
Yeah, it definitely lifts my spirits quite a bit. Still kind of stinging off of Texas, and I digress about that. But it was a weird race. Like, every time I'd try to drive toward the front, I'd burn my tires off, and then I had to cool down and let it go. And thankfully, the last third of the race turned into Caution City. Except that that huge one that happened there with Harris coming off of 4, I hit one of the guys, and I lost horsepower, but I didn't get any aero damage. So, like, that restart there at the end, I could sail it off in the corner and have no drive off. Weird.
Whoa. Yeah, definitely weird. It kind of sums up the night after some of the things that we saw out there on the racetrack as well. But, I mean, you talked about it, the rebound from last week and the iRacing server issues that happened, and you were one of the drivers caught up. But rebounding immediately, getting to that third place finish, mentally, how difficult is that to kind of regroup quickly and not let that kind of start to avalanche on you a little bit?
It's difficult at first because, like, you know, you're definitely kind of mad, but there's not much that can be done about it. When iRacing does its thing, it does its thing. But with this race, I knew that I had to try to finish with the most points I could do. Never really go into Charlotte thinking I have a shot to win because when you run the next gen race beforehand and you run really bad, it doesn't really lift your spirits, so to say. I just wanted to finish, and thankfully I dodged enough carnage to be able to finish up there.
Well, you certainly did. You had a great run tonight, and I believe we're going to see your name above that cut line, but it's going to be close heading into Michigan. So still going to have a little work to do in that final week, but nonetheless, great confidence heading into that last week. So before we let you go, Blair, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout-out to?
Yeah, I want to give a quick shout-out to a couple people here. With Customer Club, my sponsor with Dustin. ACR Autocore Recycling with my sponsors Brian and Brandy Lefevre. Of course, Macco Tools with my tool guy, Roy Salisbury, and pretty much everyone else that has been supporting me behind the scenes, just trying to make sure that I'm trying to contend for at least another shot at this.
Well, hey, you're definitely in the mix, and if you keep up these runs, no doubt you'll be battling when it comes time in Miami. So have fun celebrating with the team. Get to practicing. We got a week off next week, and we'll see you next week at Michigan.
Thank you, guys. I'll catch you.
All right, that was Blair Holloman coming home P number 3 here this evening. Let's go ahead, move to the runner-up of this one, and bring Lane Doyle up into the booth. Lane, it's Greg Olenek, Brandon Domain. As always, we're getting used to talking to you here. Again, another great run, another night on the podium, but another night where you just don't get it in the first place. What's it going to take to beat your teammate here, Lane?
Magic. I don't know. I definitely think at the end of this race, we could have switched it from Phoenix, and I could have passed him with 2 to go. but I saw Blair flying up behind us, and I knew if I took it too wide into a corner, that'd slow us both down so much that he'd get both of us by turn 1. So, sadly, sometimes you have to bite the bullet and hope that when you get a good run, you can get another one. And I did, but I used it to throw myself into the wall in turn 4, so not the greatest use of that run. I apologized to Blair immediately after that. That looked so dirty. It wasn't intentional. I just wanted to win. Instead, I almost killed me and Blair in the final corner. Other than that, the race was great. It was nice to run up front again. It's been a hot minute since I've been able to do that for a long period of time. Hope to do that next week.
Yeah, and we were talking about that during the broadcast, that, the first half of the season just absolutely on fire. The second half, and it's still been a good season, just not as strong as that first half. But then coming into this race, you're still sitting in a pretty comfortable point position. Come out there and just absolutely put out a barn burner that it was only your teammate that was able to hold you off there at the end. So what does that do, really building that momentum back up, kind of picking it back up towards what we saw in the first half of the season?
Well, I definitely think I have my momentum in the right place. I think last week was disappointing, obviously, out of our control. That thing just happens. Think of it like an engine blowing. But I had speed there, I've had speed here, and I enjoy Michigan, so I think with these treks that I enjoy that are coming up, and this momentum I have, I hope to see another solid string of top 5s like I had at the beginning of the season.
Well, hey, man, all you got to do, you kicked off the season with a win. All you got to do is finish the season with the win, and you're going to come away with that championship. But got to get there in that top 5 first. A few more races to do just that. We'll see how you do. And we get out to Michigan here in 2 weeks, Lane. But before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout-out to?
Yes, my family that is always out in the living room watching these races. Also, I have friends that tune in occasionally and watch my hobby that takes up most of my Wednesday. Worth it, by the way. And of course, I have 5 sponsors on the car that I couldn't be doing this without. Rogue Energy, Max Industries, Martin Mechanics, Roof Sport MMA, and Saloon Door Sports have all been partners on this team since the beginning of the season, and they haven't backed off yet, even when we've had our struggles. Well, 4 or 5 of us have had our struggles. Ryan's just been there the entire time. So it's greatly appreciated they stick with me and the team. And of course, family, friends, they also stick with me.
Well, awesome, man. And they're going to be sticking with you in Michigan, where you look to maybe come away with your first win in quite a while. So get to practicing, man. Enjoy the week off, and we'll see you then. But in the meantime, have fun celebrating with another good run by you and your JW Racing teammates.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was Lane Doyle, who came home Pete number 2 here tonight. Still yet to get that second W on the season. But the man picking up all the W's right now is going to be Ryan Johnson. Win number 6 here tonight. Ryan, you're staying up the show, man, but you were really contested here tonight. Had a lot of guys battling with you up towards the front. What'd you have to do here to hold them off there late in the run?
Oh, boy. I don't even know. I think we got kind of lucky there at the end. We stayed out, and we had a bunch of people stay out with us. Lane and I got a really good restart on the last restart, and I was just trying to hold them off, trying to keep the truck where I wanted it, try to keep the speed up and not make any mistakes. And yeah, I think Lane had a chance at one point to possibly pass me, but I don't know if he just didn't take it or if I was faster. I don't know. It was kind of a hectic race, honestly. There's a lot going on tonight.
Yeah, that describes it well from up here as well. But I've asked you a whole bunch of things over the past few weeks, but I'm kind of running out of stuff. And next week we got the bye week, and then at Michigan, you've already clinched, I think, the 1 seed the way that you've had this lead. So, any good plans for the next couple of weeks during the break?
I don't know. Well, next Tuesday, we at my local track we have a real race, so it'll be our fireworks night. So that'll be kind of nice, depending on how late we get home from that, because then I'll still have to work Wednesday. So that kind of works out pretty well, actually.
Yeah, so a nice week off, help clear the head. You don't need that. You're going to go out to the track and actually turn some real laps, it sounds like. But, man, you're piling them up over here. But before we let you go, Ryan, who do you got to thank here tonight?
All my teammates and the owner, Justin, at JW Racing. All the practice that we put in, we keep preaching it. It pays off. Rogue Energy, use code JW Racing, Maxon Industries Incorporated, Merritt Mechanical, Rufus Sport MMA, Saloon Door Sports, all the admins in this league, they put on a really good product. You guys for broadcasting, I love watching your broadcasts. All my family, friends, everybody tuning in and watching. And hope to see you guys up in the booth in another 2 weeks.
Well, the way it's shaping up, we'll just keep that seat warm for you as you're just stacking them up here lately and looking prime to make a run at that $500. So congratulations once again. Enjoy celebrating with the teammates. Another great run by you and your JW Racing guys over there. But, enjoy the break as well, and we'll see you out at Michigan.
Heck yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, Brandon. Well, that's going to do it here. We wrap it up in the Truck Series. Nothing new. Ryan Johnson winning it again here tonight.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard race. Nothing too crazy happened, I suppose.
Not at all.
No, we didn't have any truck go into the garage area somehow, but this is
Nobody died.
Yeah, nobody died. That's the win. But yeah, no, I mean 3 straight weeks. We kind of recapped the same way. Ryan Johnson with the win, continuing to look like the strongest driver in the field, and it's really a nervy time for 15 other drivers right now seeing the run that he's on.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can continue it in 2 weeks' time. Like we said, we're off next week. Enjoy the July 4th week. And, we're going to be back just after that, so don't enjoy it too much. We'll be back out there July 5th through 7th at Michigan International Speedway. So that's going to wrap it up for us here tonight. But definitely come on back here tomorrow. We got one more race here at Charlotte in the Xfinity Series cars. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell so you know exactly when we go live. Would love to have you. Same time, same place. So for everybody behind the scenes, myself and Brandon Domain, all the drivers here on SRN, we sincerely appreciate each and every one of you for stopping on by. Have a good night, and as always, remember to go faster.